Hey there, YouTube friends, Masked Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I always do appreciate it. And it's a Planet Coaster video, and it's actually a Planet Coaster video where I build some stuff. Haven't had one of those, I think, since March. But there's a rub. This is not my Planet Coaster project. In fact, it's my good buddy Redline's, and his video, the reveal of everything I'm about to do, it's probably already on his channel. We are in Redline's park, Laurel Gardens, and it's just kind of a work in progress, shall we say? He's got stuff everywhere. It's very interesting seeing how different people create their parks. I know that he started this project several times over. This is his ship in a bottle project, so to speak, like Conifer Slopes is for me. And all of us, I think a lot of us have those parks that we just keep coming back to and rebuilding and remaking. Anyway, Redline has given me a task. He wanted me to build in this area here, and he specifically wanted it to look foresty. He wanted a forest, and the architectural inspiration is actually falling water. See, this whole park is supposed to be built, I think he said southeastern Pennsylvania, in and it's inspired by an area called the Laurel Highlands, or at least this area is supposed to be. And one of Frank Lloyd Wright, an American architect, one of his most famous buildings, Falling Water, is in the Laurel Highlands. And so he thought it would be really cool if we made an area that was inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright architecture, that mid-century architecture, you know. So yeah, we're gonna just do different steps. We're gonna step through the process, and each update you will see more and more closer to completion, until the end of the episode, where we're finally at the end. And then, like I said, the reveal with Redline is actually on his channel. He has a YouTube channel. And so there will be a link in the description below if you want to see his reaction to what we built. I encourage you all to go ahead and subscribe to him, watch the video, leave him some love, because this is his starting point for YouTube. So head over there and watch the reaction video and leave him some kind words. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first update. So already some ideas are starting to come together. First thing I really wanted to nail down was the look of the riverfront in some places, not in all places, but in some places. If you Google Laurel Highlands and take a look, there's this really nice, like some of the pictures I saw had this interesting rock work where it's like really narrow, shallow steps of rocks almost, and then just plants. Like there was just a wall of green. So there's your water and then stone or rocks and then wall of green. And I tried to replicate that here a bit. Playing with the plant palette a bit here to see what we can do. I wanted to try to stick with all deciduous trees. I didn't want to use any coniferous trees. So yeah, and this big splotch of neon here is an idea for an overlooking restaurant. Cantilevered restaurant inspired by falling water. And speaking of falling water, you'll notice we have a pretend waterfall here. And this is just the Rapids ride. What I've done is I've taken the Rapids ride, removed the station, and put it in. And then I used terrain to make it look like a naturally occurring creek. This is a little too wide. We're gonna narrow this up, I think. I don't like it as wide as it is. I also don't like necessarily the placement of it, and I also don't like that it empties into the lake or the river. It seems weird to me. It doesn't feel natural because it's such a large drop off here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a closed loop system, a man-made system. But these shapes are what we're going for here. The cantilevered, the angles, all that stuff. There's going to be lots of glass. We're going to use stone, wood, glass. Those are the big ideas of what we're doing here. And this is kind of what I've been doing recently, is using these art shapes to kind of block things out. You can see I am having some ideas here. Running into some struggles. I don't like to build on undulating terrain like this. It hurts my face. But you can see we have quite the drop off here between these two. So I'll have to work with that. The problem here is that that's too high. I want to get this lower, and the way to do that is to put your path in first and then put the water ride in. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to nail down the path that we want this to take. And then we can just move it out of the way, put the paths down, and slide it back in, and it'll be just fine. So nothing of note, really, other than just some planning ideas. And, I'm using these Brazilian nut trees, and what I do is, this is a trick Kinderly showed me. I think he uses the kapok trees, but you can use these too. For like big, old, ancient trees, you use one, and then you Control X, and you create a duplicate, and you rotate it a bit, and it just gives these really full trees that don't feel tropical anymore. They just feel like massive oaks or something like that. And they hang over the path really nice, which is something we're going to really try to do. We really want to make this look like a forest area. So let's move ahead and see where we end up next. Substantial changes here. You'll notice first off the bat, the little creek is now much narrower. It's much more of a creek. And we have some nice rock work here to kind of really sell the idea that we do indeed have a creek going on. This is when I knew I was on the right track. When I went from this angle, that feels right. That feels like how I want it to look. I think we're on the right track. I'm actually using pretty much the alpine rocks exclusively, and I am using rock number 2 and 5, and I'm flipping them upside down because on the bottom they have a flat side, which is working perfectly for what's going on here. And I like that it almost looks artificial with how flat some of the sides are. This would be artificial. I said that's what I wanted it to be, and so yeah, I'm really pleased with how this is going. Added some water effects here to make it look like it's bubbling up, and it's really cool. It adds the steam in, or the mist in, which just adds to the whole dynamic, I think. Hint, if you want to create a more lush forest area, don't be afraid to incorporate these jungle trees. We don't have any good ferns in the game, and the fern on the workshop I am not a fan of because the color is kind of weird. So I like to use these jungle plants as ferns and hostas and other shade trees that would grow on the bottom of a forest floor, especially near water. Like, we took a vacation to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park this summer, and it was crazy how many ferns and just lush green there was under the forest canopy. So, but the big addition here is obviously the flat ride. Got the okay from Redline that he wanted that I could use this flat in the area. The problem here is that it's reading a little too tall to me. So again, what we'll do, I can't move this any lower because of the river ride. So I will just move the river ride out of the way and shift the flat ride down a little bit. It's a little too tall. I don't like this white wall here. But I did add a little drain. We have the idea that it drains into this creek here, which is cool. This fence is all TMTK beams, and I'm loving the beams. Part of the reason that I'm going so slow with this, and by the way, I don't get nearly as much of an area done as I would like to, I have to kind of relearn the game. The TMTK items have really opened up a lot of avenues, and I didn't really play with them the last time I was really working hard in Planet Coaster. So it's been really fun to find all the cool stuff that's there, and we'll take more advantage of Theme Maker's Toolkit as we go. So trying out the idea of having these little paths, these little planters with trees in them. These trees are custom trees by N7 or Mike Sheets. They're part of his custom tree set that's on the workshop. You can find that just by a simple Google or by a simple workshop search. The old Archer is in place to make sure that our scale is good. You'll notice that I did indeed drop this a bit, so now it's much closer to the water, and our little creek is now diverted and is going to flow under the building, again, as a little nod to falling water. So that's, yeah, so at this point, I was confident enough that I had something worth worth pressing on with. Yeah, so starting to come together a little bit. Paths in Planet Coaster can go straight to hell, along with the terrain. The flat ride got sunk. It looks way better now. Really like it. I hate the paths. Oh, I hate the paths in this game so much. And terrain. Paths and terrain are absolutely abysmal, and I will never stop saying that until they fix it. They're abysmal in Planet Zoo. They're abysmal in Planet Coaster. Please change the pathing system if we ever get a Planet Coaster 2. Please, please, please. Anyway, this is the best I could come up with, and I hate it. I absolutely hate this, and I'm going to tell you right now, this doesn't stick around. It sticks around way longer than it should, but it doesn't stick around for the whole time. This is just atrocious. It's so hard to line these two paths up. They're different widths. Even there's no width that they are the same on. I hate that I can't make it look nice. I come up with a workaround that you'll see later on. But yeah, this is really, really frustrating. Trying to do a bit more here with the layout, figuring out how we're going to wind our way through the area. This drop-off is still insane and way too much, but you can see there's another blocked building here. I like this idea, again, going off the falling water idea, building perched kind of on a hill over the creek here. The problem's going to be getting people into this building. Again, terrain and paths, they're like the worst part of this game. And I'm kind of punishing myself. But you know what? Redline wants terrain variations in his park, so we're going to give him terrain variations in his park. So I got on a bit of a roll here, and things kind of took off. And apologies that I don't have any in-between footage of this. It went from idea to concrete really, really fast. But here's our first building in this kind of Frank Lloyd Wright-y style. The problem with this style is when designing theme park buildings, there's no reference. The only thing I could find was the Incredicoaster. And it's huge. It's absolutely huge. This is not a style that you see in theme parks, which makes it really hard to translate into theme parks. But nonetheless, I'm really happy with how this looks. I love the... Oh, there goes the coaster ride. This coaster's great. I love the overhang here over the creek, and we added this waterfall feature. I'm not sold on it yet, so we're going to see. But you can see a base here, a foundation of the spooky stone pieces, but then lots of timber, and then lots of plaster. This is kind of the look that a lot of the buildings that I was researching have. Exposed timber beams for... supports for the cantilevered portions. I think it turned out really, really well. Really happy with this angle here. And all the black here are TMTK beams. They are my new best friend. Part of the reason that I don't get a lot done for Redline is because everything takes really long, because I have to now build interiors because I'm using the glass. Thank you, Frontier, for adding the glass. But now I have to think about interiors. So let's take a look inside. The building's not completely finished. It doesn't have a back yet. It's kind of my style. I make it look good from the path, and then I completely ignore it from the back. I can't do that because this is going to somebody else. But anyway, let's take a look inside. We have some open glass doors, but there's an extra piece of glass here, and I think that piece of glass is actually going to be sticking around for a while. So we're going to ignore it for now. But we come on inside to the little gift shop. Ooh, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't do interiors very often, but I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think it's pretty good. This might be one of my better interiors ever. And I love that I get a good view of the flat ride, that I get a good view of whatever's going to be going on out here. But check out all these awesome gift shop items. Anything that looks like a legit item is probably Theme Maker's Toolkit, like the shirts and the drink and the postcards. This stuff is by, I think, M. Stankow. This is a set on the workshop, and it's using all in-game pieces to create fake gift shop items, and they look great, but I just wanted to include some of the awesome Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff. Love the plushies. Look at the plushies. They're so cute. Some posters. I believe these are delay designers, or some of the pictures are delay designers. I'm not sure. Anyway, oh, and the fans. Aren't the fans great? I think the fans had such a good touch. We're missing, though, a light fixture. We need a straight out of the 60s, mid-century light fixture for this shop. The ceilings are tall enough to handle it. So, yeah, I'm really happy with this interior. And like I said, from this view, I think from all views, it looks really, really good. Oh, here's the rest of that set I was talking about, by the way. So I also had to do some major terrain work. You'll notice there's a flat ride up here. This is a trick that Mike Sheets talks a lot about and showed a lot in Planet Zoo. It works in Planet Coaster as well. You take a flat ride and you lay it how you want your terrain to be on a gentle slope. So like you can keep it at a specific angle of descent, like 2 or 3 degrees. And then you just lay it down, and then you put terrain down, so where you want your path to go, and you remove your flat ride and you put paths down, and it's really, really easy. And it creates really nice, fluid, gentle paths that look natural and aren't all jagged and messed up. So yeah, that's an awesome technique you can use. Use flat rides to figure out how shallow or steep to make your paths. Yeah. So it's still a hot mess, and it looks a hot mess for quite a while, but what are you gonna do? We've got a building now. Oh, and the just a memento sign, yeah, that's going away. It looks a little hokey there. All right, starting to find find my way through things here. You'll also notice we've got a big thing to talk about here, but we'll get to that in just a second. The paths. There is quite a big drop off from the bottom to the top here, and so I wanted to do stairs. But if I do stairs, then that means I have to do an ADA compliant ramp, and so it's like, oh, that's fine, whatever. It just gives you more opportunities to wander through what will eventually be a nice forest. So if you're curious how to get these super narrow steps, if you don't know already, what you do, I think I can do it actually, is you take you take a shop, any kind of shop will do, and come on, Mr. Shop. Of course, I have to be somewhere where it'll actually work. All right, so we go here, put our shop here, right? And then once you got it lined up, push X. And then you raise it. Oh, look at them stairs that popped out. Oh, and you can just whatever, boop, place it. And then you delete the shop and your stairs are there. And then you can build off of them. See? That's how you get those little narrow stairs. So if you didn't know that, now you know. We're gonna just Control Z all that. But that's how I did this. My problem is it doesn't line up here and it looks bad. Like, it's a little thing, but no, this should be like one staircase. So this will need to change, and I'll need to make it look nice. Then once those stairs were in, it was like, all right, well, let's get a ramp going. Well, okay, we've already got this ramp down to the just so many issues, so many like little things as you're planning an area that pop up. But this ramp, you'll notice, is super duper shallow for the most part, and that's intentional. And the way you do that is you space out your nodes. So if I take a path node here, and I put one here, and then I put one down here, and I sink it just a teensy-weensy bit, and you make it close enough, the game will connect them in a nice straight segment. And then if I do it again, like that, I believe. And then maybe I can even get rid of... Yeah. See, now we've got a nice shallow grade. And so you just have to be really fiddly with it. It's one of those things where you do it because you have to. That's not how it was designed. It's a cheat. It's a way to cheat a poorly designed system. Have I mentioned I hate the paths in Planet Coaster? But nonetheless, here we have what is starting to be a restaurant. A beautiful overlooking the river restaurant. I hope all that's gonna now I know all that this will someday be a beautiful view, and at the very least you get a cool view of the corkscrews there. But inspired again by some pictures I found on the Google, and just kind of trying to make it big without being stupid huge. And it's really hard. This theme park scale is really hard for this style of architecture. So it's not quite what I want. Like, I would rather it be closer to the true reference than an even more bastardized version of the reference. I actually looked, one of my tricks when making buildings in Planet Coaster is to look up Christmas Village buildings, model villages, or model railroad buildings, because usually they're scaled and the detail levels are perfect for theme park design. So I actually did look up like mid-century Christmas Village pieces, and I got like one, and it was not in the style that I wanted it to be at all. So now I am perplexed at this point because I have a lot of free Roman beams here. I need to show some sort of an interior, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do at this point. Things are looking a little hairy scary. The roof is pitched in two directions. I mean, it is on an angle. It is on an angle by the corner. It's sloping this way, so it's not flat on either plane. So that'll be interesting. So just some things that I'm realizing are gonna come that are gonna be a total pain in the butt. But I think it will all be worth it in the end, so long as Redline likes it. But yeah, I'm pleased. I love this. I like the way this looks. I think this is very, very cool. So it's another one of those cuts where I got on a bit of a roll. Once I get in the zone, I just go and I play for a really long time, and I actually managed to get things accomplished. So sorry I didn't have, again, any in-between updates, but I'll tell you what, all the walls here are non-gridded. They're all windows as walls. I'm sure everyone knows the technique. If you're watching me, come on, computer. You probably know all about windows as walls, but these are, what are these? Castle windows. And they have a nice flat texture on the back. See? Doo-doo. It makes your buildings really piece heavy, but you know what? It's just one of those things I am willing to deal with to get the results that I want. So yeah, but this is what we did. A lot of my references, one of my references I really enjoyed had a nice orangey tile floor with wood ceilings and wood planks on the walls. That was something that was common in a lot of the houses, was paneling, wood paneling. I didn't want wood paneling on this building, but I loved the idea of this floor and the beams coming through with the wood. I love the way this interior ended up. So what I ended up doing is having just a seating area here and kind of like load bearing. Like I'm assuming this area is very load bearing because it's where all the weight of these beams is leading this way. So this is pretty important to have some structure here. And then if we walk on this side of the building, another little seating area. And I wanted to try to make this feel like a theme park restaurant. Like we were just at the zoo the other day and you walk in and you order your food, and then you go sit down. That's pretty much how it works. It's not the most realistic setup here, but I think it sells exactly what you're supposed to do. You come in and order your food, and you get your little tray, and then you go find your seat. These benches are not real benches. These are made custom, but inspired by mid-century furniture. I really like the way they turned out. These little narrow legs is common with the style. The angles on the table, common with the style. There's a couple of plants thrown in just for good measure. One of the things I had a hard time doing, and I wish I could think of something. Some decorations here, I think we need something on the walls. It's a little too stark. We're gonna add lighting in a little bit, but even with that, it's a little stark. It's not very warm and friendly feeling, which I would think we would want. Outside here, we're starting to work a little bit on some ideas of how to dress this up. I'm a little concerned because this is a very big flat wall here that we got to take care of. And I hope you don't hear my cat in the background, but you probably do. She likes to meow a lot. She should probably be quiet. Anywho, yeah, we're getting close. It doesn't look like it, but we are getting close to the final piece here. The two buildings are in, the flat ride is in. Now we need to dress all this up and make it look, well, pretty. We need to make this look nice. We have two nice buildings, but now we need to make the whole thing look good. It's starting to look like something now, I think, which is great. And it's amazing what landscaping and terraforming and details will do, isn't it? I mean, just look at this. It looks like it's meant to be here now. I'm really happy with this so far. So some changes here. Pathwise, look, it doesn't look ugly anymore. I had to do some major re-noodling with the paths here to get these to do at least close to what I wanted. But now the staircase looks like a single entity rather than two hastily stuck together staircases. Some simple details to cover up the holes and to hide the edging. I don't mind the edges up here. I don't mind the in-game curbs here. I think I kind of like them there. Shh, don't tell anybody I said that. The railings are all TMTK beams. They got a little bit of a planter here. We have some Theme Maker's Toolkit mulch. I believe it's from Hydro. But I also fixed over here. This to me feels way better of a solution rather than having both the entrance and the exit cross the creek. There's no way to do that gracefully. So I ripped it out and I did just a single bridge here. And then it connects back up here. I'm still going to fiddle with this. I don't like the textures here. We're gonna make this look better. But I think this works better for crossing the creek here. Obviously, we don't have any fences yet. We'll get that. Don't worry. But I think this is a more graceful option. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get this to look better without another 30 minutes of fiddling with the paths, and I just I don't have it in me. So we're not going to do that. But now you can see we're starting to make it look more like a forest. I really am enjoying the big tree cover here. Everything's got this green glow. I love the way that this is just so gently sloping down and exposing this retaining wall, which I have also brought over to this. Whoa, coaster in the way. I've also brought the retaining wall back here to show that potentially this coaster was carved out of the land a bit, or at least this part of it. The land does continue to rise in the back. I'm going to let Redline do whatever he wants with that. So lots of green, lots of lush work here. The building, I think, is 99% of the way completed. Yeah, gotta add some lights and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, gotta do some shoring up here. But I don't think there's much else to do. I'm going to probably do a little bit. I'm probably going to just kind of do some touching up on either side of the pet coaster here, just to make that tie in a little bit better. I'm going to leave I'm going to leave this alone. Leave Redline to this. Let him do what he wants with it. So, yeah, we're getting close to the end here. I think there's maybe one more update. And here's the finished product. This is what we're going to be showing Redline in his video. We're going to take a nice gentle stroll through the forest area, and you're going to see his reaction. Hopefully he enjoys it, but just a final update for you here. I'm going to go kind of quick so that you can catch all of this in Redline's video. I pulled out all the fun name brand stores that we had in No Name Landia. So we have FizzWiz, we have Mind Gluten, we have Pucker Up, there's a TFB hiding somewhere around here. But I tidied up as much as I could in my area, added curbing and benches and bins, tried to really do a lot of landscaping. There's lights in here now that we will wait to see when we watch Redline's video. But you can see now it is a completed idea. And yeah, I'm very pleased with this. I think it came out about as good as I anticipated it. I was hopeful I could get something that looked really nice. I think I did that cute little forest flyer sign here with the coaster roaring behind it. Love that. So yeah, this is my Frank Lloyd Wright inspired, Laurel Highlands inspired forest mini theme for Redline's Laurel Gardens theme park. And we're gonna stop it. Well, we're gonna leave it right here for now. And I do encourage you all to go over to Redline's channel. Again, link in the description below. And check out the reaction video so you can get an up-close look at all of this in its finished version. So with all that being said, if you like this video, do hit the like button. Consider subscribing if you're new or you just haven't yet. And as always, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever. And I will see all of you for the next Planet Coaster video. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.